Mental toughness training. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. How do you become mentally tough? This is an issue, and it's one of those things I'll probably read some more up on and come back to this in later episodes. But I wanted to kind of give you my perspective for now. As a kid, you tend to hear, especially as a male child growing up, you tend to hear "suck it up," suck it up and deal with it. That's kind of the idea behind mental toughness. But I think it has its value, but at the same end, there's more to be mentally tough than just deal with it, because we're usually not taught. We're certainly not taught in schools, and in most cases, not taught by our parents how to be mentally tough. I had some examples, but they were never direct examples. So my grandfather, my father, they both had their own ways of dealing with things. And through their life example, I learned ways of being mentally tough, but it was never discussed directly that I can remember. And what it really comes down to, I think, this conversation of mental toughness, and we talk a lot about business here on this show, so I'll tie it in as we go along here. But this is kind of a life lesson. If what toughness really comes down to is resilience, and that resilience comes from realizing what makes you less tough, what brings weakness. And we don't talk about that either. We never talk about what makes a person weak on the inside, because mental toughness, no one talks about mental weakness. Weakness is, I think, the bigger issue. If you will be tough if you can keep from being weak. And if you know what causes mental weakness, that can change your whole life if you learn how to handle it properly. And what I have found is that most of my mental weakness was self-inflicted. It was always based on circumstances. So it's based on this process of victimhood that we put ourselves through, where some situation is causing me great pain and agony or stress, depression. Some person or people are causing me horrible situation in my life. It's always someone or something else's fault. Some cataclysmic event, whatever it is, there's always something else outside that is causing the issues inside. A huge part of mental toughness is just understanding that how you react mentally, spiritually, everything else, inside, how you internally react to whatever is occurring outside, is your responsibility. And this comes back to this conversation that I've had previously, where there's a big difference between fault and responsibility. So a lot of things can be other people's fault. Circumstances, 99% of all circumstances in the world are someone else's fault. They're not your fault. It was their fault. In fact, a whole lot of things that happen to you throughout your life are not your fault. They really aren't. They're not your fault. You didn't get to choose your parents. You didn't get to choose your name. You didn't get to choose your genetics. You didn't get to choose your race, your religion. Oftentimes, a lot of these things you don't get to choose. You get raised up in it, and that raising up in those circumstances make you who you are from that point forward. So a whole lot of how you react to things, how you are based, it's all someone else's fault, and that's okay. But you have to be okay with that being someone else's fault. In the end, responsibility is something completely different. Responsibility means it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You're in charge of fixing it. You're in charge of determining what happens next. You've got to figure this out. That's mental toughness, but it comes back to understanding that deeply enough that you won't accept any of the other garbage. that your brain plays to you, that the media plays to you, that entertainment and your friends and everyone around you is trying to create a victim in you because it plays to the victim in them. If you can catch that, if you can not be a victim, that's a first initial step to mental toughness, is the refusal of being a victim, the refusal of playing the blame game. If you can do that and not resent what you're seeing out there, not resent the fact that you're out of control. In so many scenarios, we're completely out of control. That depending on where your politics are or whatever else, everything happening around you at one point in your life is going to be completely against where you think things should be going. And you won't be able to do a darn thing about it. And you got to be okay with that. Not okay with it in the sense that you're happy, but okay with it in the sense that, okay, well, I can't change it this second. Now what? I can't change what happened up till now. Now what? You know, don't quit. You got to quit hating and resenting everything that's happening. That's what creates weakness. That's what creates the victim mentality. That's what puts you in a position of being mentally weak. If you can watch that and slowly come out of it, or quickly come out of it, you can notice it, that'll change your whole life. And that's the road to mental toughness. I'm not as mentally tough as I want to be, but I catch more and more things that make me mentally weak. And as you go through life, the more and more you catch those things and keep from walking down that road to weakness, then you'll walk down the road to toughness. It's toughness in a good way. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a very broad principle-based topic, but if you're wanting more of the next level of strategy, how do I apply this to business? How do I take charge of where I'm at and keep myself from being the victim in the business world? Go check out my book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. You can pick up a copy. It's a hardbound book, but it's a quick read. Go pick up a copy at Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com or anywhere books are sold. And you can always get a free digital copy from AmazonProofBook.com. AmazonProofBook.com. We'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.